Hello, this is Lucia Arden here. Thank you so much for taking this message. Again, this is the international news of Lucia Arden. I'm going to talk about something very serious after safety. Safety is actually, it's not only in the military and for safety of our military and our safety of our land and our homes, but it's also safety for our foods. And I talked about this for many years. I wrote a book on alternative medicine, the Garrison's method of foods, and also alternative medicine and pharmaceuticals. But I began in 2007 and talked about microplastics and foods. So I've been talking about this for many years now. My name is Lucia Arden. So let's get to it. And we need to restore our foods. There needs to be new restoration, just like there's the Doge for the restoration for our economy, for offices, because each office has to be restored. And one of the offices is our laws and regulations for food. So let's get going here. My name is Lucia Arden, and I'll be looking at these books, God First, America, Our Miracle, and it's Justice First, America, Our Miracle. And these are political books. And other book we'll be discussing also In God's Power, America, Save Our Legacy. But this book right here, Our Need to Give to the World, is the second edition. It talks about the food and the issues of our life, and also in our life in America, Rise to God's Truth, how we need to take care of America. So let's get going here and let me show you.
Just revealed that their chicken is made with human meat.
And
this has been old
yes,
news for a while.
Kentucky
now.
Fried Chicken.
You guys should have known this by now. And I can prove to you what is actually going on based on scientific studies that are available to the public and have been since 2020, so you know it's real. HEK 293 are baby fetus cells that have been cloned.
Look at this now. These cells have been cloned in all our foods. Now, is this true? But the thing is, now listen to what he says. He says it's not even written down in instructions. This has to be taken care of. And we could do it. These are jobs that could be formed, just like we're fixing the AI, so we could fix our country and our systems and how we put out our money and everything else. We need to fix our foods. Let's go. We are so sick. Our country, America, is at the bottom of the list of sickness, and we will have sicknesses in our country. And even if you're the very high echelon wealthy, it will eventually come down to you also. We need to take care of this issue now, no matter who you are, whether you're the wealthiest person or in the lower economic system. We need to take care of our foods. Now listen to this, what he says.
So disgusting. They've been cloned and put into pretty much every
Baby
fast
cells.
food chain and product that you see in the grocery store. And they're used to inhibit the taste buds so that you don't notice all the chemicals that they put into this food to make it addictive. And guess what? It is in pretty much everything.
See,
and it
look at
isn't
this.
on the food
Kellogg,
label, but if you read the studies,
PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, Nestle, Danico, Mars,
foods.
Montelez, Wrigley. This is terrible. All those foods, all these foods has these chemicals in them, and it doesn't tell about this chemical that's inside made in each of these foods. It has to be changed. All foods, we have to have an ambassador to check and restore our foods right away. And there needs to be some then deductions then for these companies so they'll be motivated to do it. But there has to be new rules, laws, and regulations, just like they did fraud and crime against America in the other offices. They have done crime in the food systems. And I've been talking about this for a while, and I got in trouble for this. I've had a lot of violence in the past because that was one of my beginning things besides water and microplastics and abortion and foods and poverty issues. That's where I began. Let's go. Let's get this corrected. Come on.
We'll list off all the corporations that use it, and it's all the big ones that own all the other little corporations. So it's in pretty much everything, and it won't be on any ingredients list either. So that's what they mean when they say that KFC is part human, because it really is. And who knows, maybe they're even taking a step further and growing these chickens in labs. If they can do it with organs, they can do it with chicken. Chicken is the most simplest form of an amino acid. It's the most simplest form of meat. That's why every other animal out there tastes like chicken. It's a joke, you know. They say, "Oh, what's crocodile taste like?" "Oh, it tastes like chicken," because it's the most basic form of an amino acid. Everybody.
Okay, so I wanted to tell you that not only does it have that human form of cell in all our foods, okay, but also we have toxins in our foods, like RFK talks about the dyes in our food. I love those Cheetos, okay. You can't have Cheetos. It has the dyes in them. It has the red dye, the orange dye. Gates owns the largest land of agriculture. We need to work with him. And I believe he could change. There's no reason why he can't change and not depopulize and in what to give injections. And we can't have injections. Well, we're at it right now. It's a new post. He wants to give injections for birth control. Never do that. Never. Inside that will kill the cells, and all reactions of the Krebs cycle and all cell reactions in the body will be deformed from it. See, and this is the way that people are, will become dead when we eat these toxins foods. Just like RFK said, we're the sickest country and we were the top of the line. Now let's go and I'll show you my books. So let's get going. The Chinese are buying up agricultural land, which we need to stop that. And I'm so glad that Italy, they can't buy CCP land. Is that true in other parts? Which is dangerous for controlling the quality of food and land to hold in the military systems. We can't have any CCP land owned. And also we need to make laws and regulations with Gates when he starts using that land, or any other person that owns land. And in my book, it shows who owns a lot of the land. There are many contraindications. While transportation of food and processes could be uncovered situation for bioware food systems, poisoning people and transporting military tools or apparatus. That's if China got the agricultural land or the food. That's why, just like President Trump said, don't eat any of Chinese food, because they have that chemical in it that you're not supposed to be eating. But I use the example that they will use the food systems and the transportation system for biowarfare and carry military tools and poisoning people and transporting military apparatus. Plus, they'll control the price. You see the strategic plan of destruction of across America and the world they have been planning. Because I'm an expert about the geopolitical problems with China. I was the forerunner as a layperson after the military about China and getting people aware of it. Do you see that? Let's go. Come on. It's just not eating of what we eat. We have to make sure who buys the land, who processes the land, and there has to be new rules and regulations. Look, in the Bible, it says that we have a seed-bearing plants everywhere, and they take the seeds out of the food because they don't want us to plant food. So they have seedless watermelon, they have seedless fruit, seedless papaya. I was shocked. See, they don't want any of the seeds because they want to control the foods. And it's funny because I in prayer, and I asked my daughter to buy seeds, and because we need to get seeds, the regular seeds, the heirloom seeds, we need to buy seeds. And there it is. I didn't know this last year that they're taking seeds out of all the foods, but I was told to buy seeds. And all of us should have seeds and find the original seeds right away. We should all have them. And I saw that that one of the countries is building a vertical food system where you don't need the soil, and that's how we could fix our states. Each state, when we go and restore our states, each community has a certain agriculture, and it's a business, and that's where they get their foods. Let's get going here. This is terrible. And it says right there, God gave us seeds, but they want to change the seeds, just like they try to change the people and make them transgender. This is wrong. Now let's get going. Come on, let's get going here. Just like we had Doge help us with the files and all the offices, like I asked Elon Musk, we need someone to help us with the foods. This has to be corrected. wanted to do monetization, and I've been working on this for many years. In 2014, I wrote a book about alternative medicine, and we can't have, it says, health is paramount to our nation. Just like our RFK says, this was a past. The dairy cow's environment has pungent smell and spraying. It must be removed from the present agriculture place, dangerously pungent with the scent. There is a disease they are carrying in the toxin. I noticed by the cow's movement, demeanor, and posture, and even the air seemed foggy and discolored, and the sense of this toxic for the cows and their physical bodies ingest the food. The mist in the air lets off poisonous smell that goes into the bloodstream, and constantly we know that there are pharmaceuticals they give the animals, and they must have done spraying. This is when I went in the car. I was called, instead of taking a plane, but to take a car across San Francisco area, and I learned a lot about that area. And there was like a fog on the top, a dark fog on top of where the cows were, and the pungent smell was so bad. They must have done some spraying, but the cows were so lethargic, and they were sitting there, and that's what we were eating, in any hormones that they're injected with, we're eating. We need to be very, very careful. The test of the air of the toxic substances from the urine, feces, and from of course, tested there at different times when they spray. Also test distances in other creatures, foods, and people positions exposed to toxins, and a timeline. Because they also spray, when I was in one of the states, they sprayed in the city to take away the smell, because the dairy farm was near the business, but the dairy farm was moving. And so I ran, I was jogging, my night jog or run. And so then I smelled it. I could barely breathe. And I went back in, and I asked the man what was wrong about the smell. And he says, oh, we spray at night because it smells so bad at night. The dairy farm is right next to the street, down the street. This is very serious. And that dairy farm and the sprays, those are in the blood system of the people and the cows, because they do regular spraying, so it's in the blood system. Could you get those chemicals from the spray out of the blood system of the cow? Now it's in the cell makeup of the cow, and we're eating the meat. Do you get it? And the milk. And the toxins, it talks about the toxins when we do spray for the smell of the cows, or issues that we spray, and any hormones or any injections we give, and the foods that we give to the animals. This is very bad. And this is just the animals. I'm not talking about the food they process in the companies. But I wrote a page about how it costs more money to make ungenerated food. That means we need generation. We need energy to make synthetic beef. We need energy to make synthetic vegetables. But we have generated natural food is generated. It has energy itself. Natural food has energy itself to produce. Your sister wrote about this, Lucia Arden. Synthetic food costs more money in the long run to produce, because it doesn't give vitamins to the people, and they die off, and they get a very bad healthiness in our country. But in the long run, when I looked at the numbers, all the numbers, it costs more money to build synthetic food. I don't know why they did that. They thought it was going to monetization, but it costs more money. So they must have found a way to cut it. And you know what they did? They put chemicals, and they didn't put pure food in at all. They used mostly synthetic food. And they used substances like human cells in the Kentucky Fried Chicken, in all foods, because it's cheaper. Let's get going here. So we need to make new rules and regulations. This has to be done. This has to be done. I asked President Trump, let's do this. God told us to put food on our shelves. We need to have food and ready to go for any problems when there's any electrical emergencies or anything. That we should have 3 months of food. And this was years ago. I wrote this, and also food and water, and also a little garden. Perhaps if you're able to have a garden, to get a garden regularly. This has to be done, and you could save food in an area where to keep it cool. But this is very, very serious. Let's continue. I have promoted presidentship for years, American, regarding the restoration. I consulted on podcast, writing, speaking, singing, book signing, specialist in consulting health, an expert with development of empowering others that are experts. No vaccinations early on, a couple of weeks after CCP came existence. They said no vaccination, prior warning the virus year prior of 2007, microplastics, 2007, foods and health, toxins, chemical spray, self-sufficiency, economy, 2016, geopolitical problems. These are all things that we need to work together, which we are working together. They wanted to try to destroy our America. But these people, these companies, they were just thinking monetization to make money, not thinking about the health of the people. It has to be changed. So what happened to our America? Crossed the line, all offices and all businesses of ways to life became lesser than life. Here it is. I wrote a book about electrotherapy, Dr. Beck's protocol. And Dr. Beck is from University of Southern California. And he had a protocol on how to heal diseases without chemicals. Okay? And also, I studied the gear system of nutrition, that you have to do it simultaneously, and then you could heal. You could heal your body. And I got in big trouble for that. We must build quality, not quantity, for a human conception of life, of existence. And in long run, we will have better success, better outcomes. Our bodies will be healthier, and we will have a better production. Forgive me for saying this, but this is what many world powers are doing. They want to weaken us. I could never fathom that, but it is true. See, they do not realize the more injustice that is done, the less they receive their gifts from God. We talked about the foods that we need to have, clean foods. Note it takes more energy for people to digest synthetic meat and toxics in foods. Also, synthetics may stay in the body if they do not have organic substances. All foods should be natural. People will get less nutrition but more energy and have severe contraindications using synthetic elements in foods. And that's why a lot of these people you see, they're so heavy. It's because they have a disease from the food that they've been eating, and the chemicals that they put in their body has ruined their cell makeup and also the process of the food and all their organs. And if a plant-based substance meat is made, it will be by fact a secondary being substance that is unnaturally made against divine creation and divine nature, and a substance that will be less than life and only generated by force of extra components of energies regularly because it cannot regenerate itself. I just talked about that, to most effectiveness as compared to the ungenerated cow, chicken. And this is also relative to natural foods and vegetables. We have enough food. We have enough products. It's just that only the 1% and then 3% use all the food. They use all the resources. We have enough food to go around. That's why these billionaires such as Gates, which I really wish I could help him, he has the most agricultural land, and that he wants to, and how is he going to use that land? And I'm concerned because he wants to give shots to the children, most of them are children and young women, to have birth control. You could never do that. When you give a shot and you stop birth control, that means any reaction, any chemical reaction that's a part of a baby developing is going to have a contraindication from that injection, because that process of the baby, when a baby is formed, there's so many reactions, so many equations. So even if the child and the woman are not having a relationship, intercourse, they're still going to be affected every day by that chemical from the same reaction. Are you with me? of equation that's in the equations and the reactions when the baby is formed. Do you understand? That's common sense. I talked about this before. That's why I don't believe in the pills either. They still have to go back to see the doctor. In foods, this is relative because it's something that we're putting in our body that is very, very, very bad. And we cannot do this. Think about that. Come on, think. This talks about the prime mover. Prime mover is God for me, and the prime mover is Jesus Christ, and for President Washington. And he would never accept this, never. And he told us, President Washington told us that who you have to be careful from is the government itself and the Masons and the people that are control, that take away the freedom of the people. He has many, many statements like that. And so does George Washington, Andrew Jackson, all of them. We need to get ourselves, and we need to, each one of us, we could make changes, and these companies have to make changes with their foods, and they have enough money to do it. That chart I showed you, this chart, let's go back.
Everybody is freaking out about this KFC commercial because they just revealed that their chicken is made with human meat.
See, and that's what's happening to us. We're dying human meat. We have to carry our life, carry the legacy, and the people that get past it, the food that's give to them, that they eat. They're carrying the life. This picture symbolizes they're carrying the life of the people and the sickness. This is wrong. It needs to be changed right away. We have to be careful because just like China, I told you, I told them to look at all the manufacturing of China, of any foods, any military tools, any children's things, anything that we use as a human. And they did find components of apparatus in the cranes. Are you listening? In the cranes, all the cranes, that they could control the cranes and stop and go when they deliver their things on the dock. Did you know that? Because I asked them to look and they found it. They also found apparatus of controls that China has for one of our military planes. I asked them to look. This is the same thing with the foods. They could put controls in the foods in sickness. And I heard that they want to give people a pill and put a microchip in the pill to kill them off. And they want 50% of the people dead by 2030 or whatever date. This is not right. But let's go on. And for us as believers, the food of life is God. The food of life is God in Jesus Christ, the Eucharist table, which we do need to discuss that because we do have it's called the Continental Congress Prayer of 1774, that we have a covenant that we gave our life to Jesus Christ and we would seek in obedience. Look it up. All the forefathers were there. And also President Washington, the first president, he has also many, many sayings of dedicating himself to Jesus Christ. It's just not me saying this. This is our life. And that's why America went down, because we had an oversight. In the Old Testament, one of the minor prophets, they buried the Torah. They buried the Torah, the Old Testament. They buried the Jewish law, the Jewish Bible. They buried it. And look it up. One of the minor prophets found it. He found it at the throne of the king, and they got it out, and they were doing very, very bad, their country, in the Jews. And then they found it, and they went back to the law, and they did excellent. But the same thing was us. We buried the truth. We buried our covenant with justice, okay, in Christ Jesus through the covenant of the Continental Congress. And if you don't believe in Jesus, but we bury justice, okay? We bury justice, and we didn't realize, I believe a lot of people didn't realize that they were just monetizing information. We have many jobs. So I hear they're saying they're afraid there are many jobs. Did you see those AI? There's 100,000 jobs that are developing with the AI companies that we have to build. And those people those 0.15 that were fired, and the teachers that left, because only 0.15 were fired. The other ones took early resignation, but there's many jobs, and those teachers could get those jobs. There's 100,000 jobs alone that are jobs for the AI. And so the foods, we need to fix the foods also. The same thing. The foods have to be fixed, but we're going to have to get ambassadors to go to these companies, and we have to have new laws and regulations to change these food systems. And this all relates. This all relates. I know I'm talking about food, but it all relates because it's geopolitical powers now. And our country has problems with each office that we're cleaning up. And the food is so important. We need to correct the food system because we need a healthy nation to have skilled workers. Are you with me? And that's why we can't have chemical spraying, and we can't have hormones in the animals and the foods, because the babies get it in their system when the mother eats food. And also sometimes all things may not be filtered out by the umbilical cord. And did you see that food with the infant milk? Because I said I want all the infant milk, all the milk, the powdered milk they feed the babies, and they found worms in it. That's terrible. It has to be corrected. Let's go. Come on. Toxic foods. These are all the things that we need to do. See these things we need, as I told you, to restore the children's education. And here's a lot of the things that we could talk about to protect it. I have many writings about this, and that's why we could have a notebook that all the children required, because I believe all the children should be required to talk about the ecosystems and about foods and about any system that they want to work with that are ecosystems, but everyone maybe should talk about a food system and understand it and how we could correct the foods. This is very, very serious. Okay, so this book, and they're long books. They might have Christian titles, but they're books to support America. They're political books to support America and the world. And here's the other book here. So let's finish this off so you see the information that we worked on it to make sure we get this done, because it's very, very serious, and we need to fix this right away. And this is one of the offices. So these are all the urgencies that we need to work on. See, all the urgencies is a one paragraph, 90% of them. Health, pharmaceuticals, drugs, no vaccination, borders, economy, biowarfare on citizens, chemical spraying, economy, international diplomacy, mediation of complex issues, nutrition, agriculture, protection of children and stop abortions, protect children from transgender, LGBTQ until they are old enough to decide. It should not be promoted in the school system. We need to figure out how we're going to do that, how we're going to figure that out to the transgender already there, but it should not be allowed until they are older. And because our food system, and you know this, is ruined, it has hormones in it and toxins, they reach puberty from anywhere to 8 to 14 years old, the children, and they start getting breast and other issues and their menstrual cycle, because of the foods are all are toxic, and they put hormones in the chicken and the foods. And did you hear what that man said? That everything tastes like chicken because they're using chicken fetuses, chicken cells to put it in all the foods that are made. All the foods that are made in those companies, they put chicken in it, chicken cell to develop it. So it controls the taste, and also to make you want an additive to make you want it to eat as much as you can. Because I know sometimes I bought food, I feel I want to eat it, but this needs to be stopped right away. It has to be worked on. It has to be worked on. This is a divine command. It has to be worked on. Agriculture, animal toxins, and foods. They wanted to take everything away from us. Not only we have 500,000 children not accounted for, and that's including the children in the Ukraine war, And then the fair practice of citizens first inner cities. We need to take care of the inner cities. Why did we let all those immigrants in? And then did you see how they found a company of women sent from China that they had babies. It's called something, the womb. They would womb something, a business where they sell babies and they make the babies citizens and they use the babies. See how they corrupt our nation? And they used the babies, and they had a house full of many houses full of women birthing babies, and they used it as a business so they could get citizenship. And this is what they corrupt us, and we need to stop this. And that's why I don't believe the child shouldn't become a citizen just because he's born here. This is very, very serious because they abuse it. It's not that we're trying to put restraints. It's just that we have geopolitical powers, globalization, and evil, President Reagan would say, because they're communistic controls by their leaders that allow to come here under China. This is very serious. It has all to do with foods and interjection of the body. Anything, when I'm talking about foods, is the interjection of the body today. Okay? But this all relates. All this relates to all these things. Why would they let the immigrants in when we have food problems? And there's so many, one out of every what is it? Go hungry. The children go hungry in the United States. It's very, very serious why they did this. And we need to really consider, there's a pharmaceutical crimes that needs to be assessed, which we need to assess this right away. There, in every state should have a mediation to get monies back from the CCP vaccination that was a criminal to allow to give to the people. And it should be given back to the people right away. Safety of foods and agriculture, not toxins. We need to take care of that. It's number one in pharmaceuticals and vaccinations use alternative medicine. And just like they said, we cannot give those vaccinations and immunizations to the babies, okay? The food systems of immunization when the baby comes out because because the way they make them now causes many diseases. RFK has shown that there's a high level of autism and other diseases, and he believes it because, and it's common sense, because of immunization since a certain time period, things that was changed in the way to increase of disease amongst our people and autism. We have to stop EMFs and chemical spraying. We're breathing that in like food. It has to be stopped right away. Let's go on. The foods and agriculture make pure, not synthetic. Stop chemical causing cancer. Spray on foods. We need to stop this. And the fertilizers, the way they make their fertilizer, use spray and toxins. And the soils, we have to make sure that the soils are not destroyed. And much of the soil, sometimes they get depleted, so they need to be worked on. But these need rules and regulations. Stop dairy products, not organic without hormones and GMOs. Stop fast food, toxin foods, and toxic everyday products. And it was known in China, they opened many, many fast food companies, and many people have diseases of this. No marijuana smoking in front of the children or any adults that don't agree, because it causes brain damage, not only for the children, but for the adults themselves. And no vaping, because vaping is a new thing. And I wrote about this, and we're talking about ingestions of foods and ingestion of the body today. Vaping, and I asked, and I'm so grateful that Texas, in Lago Vista, they let me speak. And since then, we've been speaking about it. But now I'm trying to get it internationally, that we cannot, vaping should be illegal. They put phenylphthalate, and they found it in vaping. They found phenylphthalate, because remember, vaping is liquid. And I'm sure it's made in China. And it kills the children, kills the people. It kills the children, and it kills the people. It kills the adults. It's known to kill the lungs and the cells of the lungs, and they have to get surgery. They can't breathe, and it's a new chemical, and it should be illegal. It should be illegal, I believe. Also, cleaning agents and things that we use to cook foods, like all the microplastics in the pans and all the plastics and spoons and the plastics we put in the microwave, they get microplastics. I told you about microplastics are related to our foods we eat. I said that in 2007. It's the microplastics go in the ocean, then the fish eat the water, or in the water, and then we eat the fish, and the fish have microplastics in them. We need to stop. All this has to be done, and it needs to be taken care of. And the spraying that they spray down, just like they spray down, and they spray for chemical seeding, weather seeding, and chemicals go in the air, and it's in the water, and then we drink the water. It's on our vegetables, and we eat the vegetables. And this is very, very bad. It's in the soil, and the soil is used to plant. It's on our fruits and vegetables that are at home or anywhere. And we also breathe it in, these chemicals they use for weathering and seeding. This is very bad. We need to make new laws. And the children's lunches, I believe we need to keep the children's lunches for the educational system. And I have a post on children's education, and foods shouldn't be toxic at all. I noticed in Texas, the beautiful man in Texas, he has a special program for children. So the lunches are good lunches and they're not toxic. That should be rules and regulations, and no machines. When I was in San Marino, I was with a scientist, and he in the Athenaeum Club in Caltech, because I was in the medical practice for 20 years, and I had many scientific friends. And he was able to get out of the San Marino schools no junk food in the machines. He was able to do that. No sodas we should have. All those energy drinks are all toxic that you see. This is very bad. And they have those vapings right down the street. I saw that they sell them right in machines, and little children could buy it. Are you listening? And do it behind the mother's back or the father's back, because the child, maybe he's nervous or she's nervous, or she's curious or he's curious, and they'll smoke the vaping, and the parent won't even know it. It should not be in machines, the vaping. And this all relates. This is very, very serious. And this is very serious. Vaping was made to kill the people. Okay. I believe it's a war on drugs. Just like President Trump said, fentanyl is a war on drugs of the people, a tool to deplete the people and take over America under the China, which is very, very bad. See, here it is right here. Even when there is a continuous hormonal imbalance with foods and puberty, it affects emotions, and the children has to choose when they get older. And this talks about the transgender and LGBTQ. This all relates to poor children. They have to deal with all this. The children have to go to school in a peaceful, calm place, so they could develop with continuous repetitive understanding of education and accountability and development of their authentic being without eating terrible foods that are toxic. And talking about transgender LGBTQ should be produced in the system at that age. They could choose when they're adults. And they should all have water. All the water should be filtered in all the schools for the children. And water is 80% of our bodies, almost. It's 60% of our bodies approximately. We need to make sure our water is all filtered. And we have to be careful again. If we have an emergency with electricity, we need to have water filters. So this is and make sure that we have water. This is very, very serious. And the nanoparticles are from the spray that's in the air, and then all the EMFs is the energy they use. They talk about 5G towers. That's the energy they use. They work in the evil hand in hand with each other, where they go in the system. The nanoparticles that people breathe in from when they're in the air, and the energy, the EMFs carry it through the radio waves, and then also the nanoparticles when some of the people were injected with the CCP vaccination also have many, many serious contraindications to control the body and the toxins, and also attach with the radiation and the nanoparticles to cause death upon the body and even mind control. There's the water systems. Look, our water's ecosystems, they have not been taken care of. Our foods, our agriculture has taken to synthetic toxic process. Elite communists control the world economic controls. And I saw that the World Economic Controls, that they said that they want to give us a tablet and put a microchip in there, and it's going to cause to kill the people or cause to control. War crimes, hidden plans for injustice, for innocent children's future, or nations of future for peoples, communities, states, and nations. EMFs, chemical spraying, technologies, technological cities, technological controls, synthetic foods, world health controls, pharmaceuticals, and other injustice that needs to be taken care of. What would you think if you think there's so much fraud that they did in America, and they found alone billions of dollars are in fraud? You saw that under the Doge, okay? And I showed you that in my post. They're also going to do evil against us with the food systems. This needs to be taken care of. It can't be overlooked. We are doing a mass restoration for our American. We could do it. It's not a problem. We could fix our America. We could fix it. We have all the tools at our fingertips. We have technology when we use it in a good way, and we have enough to go around. If there's enough food, there's enough commodities, there's enough resources to go around for everyone to eat good food. And all those offices in those food systems that make all those foods need to be changed. There it is again, all the information that needs to be done. All the things. It's repetitive. Here's the pillars of power, okay? See this? Pillars of power. There's the pillar of technology and information. See this right here? Technology and information. Pillars of regulations and law. Pillar on earth and in heaven. That's the pillar of God. That's what I believe, that God gives us all that we have. Other believe is the life itself. Pillar of existence of daily life, and pillar of world powers. The pillar, and these are pillars. The technology is very high. The regulations law is very low of light. This goes forever. The pillar of earth and in heaven. That like the Our Father, that the prayer of the Our Father, that this divine nature of life, God Himself gives us life, and other people just believe it's life. Then the pillar of existence in daily life is very high. Those are the people all themselves, because they're related to God and connected. Okay, and that's why we could change it, because we are created by God and we are perfect in our creation. God made us perfect in His eyes. Of course, we're sinners, but He made us perfect, and He could restore all things. And in us, He could restore all things. In us, He could restore all things. Look at that. Look at that. And this is how we could restore. These are the pillars of life that we could restore. And then we need ethics, though. But see, because I asked in prayer and thinking, how can we correct these problems? We need ethics first. And that's why with our foods, we have to have ethics. Ethics is making the highest level of well-being for the people. And that's what we need. But the problem is, it changed over many years, the last 20 years, and that's why they have to listen. These House and the Congress and these other politicians, there's so much going on. There's geopolitical power, geopolitical economy, geopolitical technology, globalization, 9 billionaire criminal companies. And the highest one is China, for us that deal with us. USA, elite criminals and elite criminal politicians, massive controls, secret groups, Masons, entertainers, newscasters, social media, corporate controls. These are the pillars of power that we see. See, when you have information, when you know information, and understand you could correct things, and that's how we're going to correct it. And then there's politician influence, foods and agriculture. See, right there, foods and agriculture. I have that at the top. This is the geopolitical power. That's without saying the military, okay? But see, foods and agriculture, number one. Gates, right there. He owns mostly all 260 acres. He might have more. And please, Bezos, also, he recently bought a lot. And there's and there's also Martin and other people. Mason, Martin, I think there's many other men that own, many other men that own many agricultural land. And here's the other billionaires: Elon, Bezos, Zuckerman, Soros, Gates, Fink. We need to work together, all of us. And Elon did come on, and I asked him, Lucia Arden asked him, and if you notice, he wasn't political before, because I asked, and I found out who he was. And I'm not sure what text it was and who it was, but he did follow through and is helping us correct our America. So these are all the issues that we have. And this all relates to the food in the way of life. So we're going to ask, we'll leave it to this. Gates owns most of the agriculture, okay, land. We need to come together in truth. And we need to ask the American people, let's come together in the pillars of power and use them in the way that the divine nature, the nature of life, at the highest ethics. And that's how we're going to control life for the best, for the well-being of people. We have to go back to ethics. That's why I said each class of the children, if you're going to give them that $40,000 for each child for home teaching, each class has to have rules and regulations for ethics. And this is very serious. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate your time. We are going to have some beautiful changes, and everything's going to work out just great. And see, all this work, we could come together. Most of these documents are for America, you know, and we are going to come together and work together. My name is Lucia Arden. Our Need to Give to the World, and we're going to work together. We are going to fix our America. We are going to fix our America. We are fixing our America. And it shows by the very strategic and organized fashion of what we're doing today. And we need to pray that there's no nuclear war at all. That's the worst. But I would never think that they would ever put a nuclear action on a country, because it will come right back on them. It's very bad. And here, this is George Washington. If you don't know George Washington, this is a very famous picture. In 1776, he was in the cold, like many Americans are in the cold, working so hard to make it. And even the politicians and all the people working, it's very, very difficult. We're at war to save our country. And he's down on his knees praying, George Washington, okay? And to save our country from 1776, we do want not to lose it, okay? So let's work together and come together, and we're going to make it. Thank you so much. This is Lucia Arden. Look me up. I'm here with you. And I'm here to empower the experts and empower the experts side by side, the specialists. And I'm a political analyst, politician for the people. And we need to come together in truth and hope and patience. Thank you so much. And we need to correct the foods right away. We need to begin now. Thank you very much. This is Lucia Arden. Look me up. LuciaLuciArden.com and AriseToGodsTruth.com.